River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Niner Nuts. I am Dan here along with James. James, say hello.
What's up, everybody?
I am rocking the jersey. Yes, it's a Jimmy jersey. It's not a Ronnie Bell jersey, but I don't care. I'm rocking the jersey because we had kickoff, and we kicked off the season in about as good a way as possible with a victory over the Jets to the tune of 32-19, but let's be real, it was 32-16 when the Jets gave up. We'll dive into that here in a second. We have to very briefly here at the very top address, though, the fact that we finally were going into year 3 of our show, and we just now can put a win on our parlay record. For the first time, we have legitimacy now. Our mascot money line. Not the ones that we statistically take seriously. Our mascot money line actually hit. I almost swore there, but the mascot line.
The mascot money line, man. Like
you convinced me that humans are the apex predator, which is true, clearly, like where we are as a society across the globe. We are the apex predator. So that is why we should pick the Patriots over the Bengals. If we didn't do that, the money line would have been dead. Like, that game would have killed the money line right off the bat. So I bow to you. It hit. The money cleared, so I dispersed it to everybody. I already know what I'm spoiling my wife with my winnings. God, what a great way to kick off the weekend before our game on Monday night. Like,
I mean, just like this weekend could have gone any better for like both of us, you know? Like, you know, the Eagles...
I was having heart palpitations during the Lions game. I was like, damn it, we're going to overtime. Jared almost threw a pick. Like, God damn it, this is not going to go well.
I was like, well, first of all, like with the kicker and the fact that kicker was up, and they said the kicker never actually kicked field goals or extra points in college, that he was the kickoff specialist. Just even
and he
looking
was wearing
at him,
44.
Yeah, just looking at him with the number and how skinny he was, I'm just like, oh, this guy's gonna miss, man. We're gonna lose mascot money line off of this. And so when he made the kick, then it was like, okay, we need the ball first in overtime. Like we need it, because the way that game was going, like the Rams were pretty much like, you know, just driving the ball downfield and scoring pretty much when they wanted to. So it was just like, okay, like we need to win this coin toss. And when we won the coin toss, I was like, yes, gonna win, you know. So
and then David Montgomery took the ball. It helped a lot getting the hit to the head call on Sam Laporta. He already made like a 15-yard catch, and then they tacked on 15 more.
yeah.
But beyond that, just hand the ball to your wrecking ball running back, not the shifty Gibbs, who did make a really good catch on the side. But outside of those two, Sam Laporta and Gibbs plays, run it down their throats with David Montgomery, and they got the job done, and they got us a massive payout on that parlay.
yes. Just in time for me to have to get the backyard cleared out. So yeah, I have a bunch of stuff from when we redid the deck, and all the wood and stuff. The contractor never took it away, so I'm gonna use the money to have that just cleared out and, you know, off my plate. So but yeah, I mean, what a weekend for both of us. You know, Friday night in Brazil, the Eagles go out and win this game against the Packers, you know. And
Giants
Saquon
fans
Barkley.
going into a deep depression over Saquon's 3 touchdowns.
I know. They must be really, really sad. And then, then Sunday, we hit mascot money line in the most dramatic fashion you could think of, because
My
that
boy Baker, I'm gonna be a low key Bucks fan this year because that's how much I love Baker Mayfield, and he kicked the crap out of the Commanders.
I know it was just it was just a perfect weekend. Like, we couldn't have asked for anything better. I mean, I guess we could have, we would have wished that the Browns would have put more of a fight up against those Cowboys, but I mean, still though, Eagles win, 49ers win, we won our parlay, yeah, that's it. That's the end of the show, right? That's just it. We're done.
Caleb, for my dad's team, Caleb could have threw more than 100 yards, but he still won the game though. Got bailed out by special teams and defense.
Without scoring an offensive touchdown, they won that game.
That's how bad Captain Mayonnaise is. He made that meme live forever of him on his knees holding his head. That was hysterical. I was crying laughing at that when I saw that later in the afternoon. But to answer your question, no, that is not the end of our weekend, fortunately, because we had a remarkable turnout against the Jets. I only use the word remarkable because guess who was inactive literally an hour before kickoff? The reigning offensive player of the year, Christian McCaffrey. He was, complete disclosure, they didn't technically lie because he did have a calf and Achilles injury designation during practice, but he practiced this week after missing all of training camp. So we all thought, oh, okay, cool, he's going to play. Kyle insisted he was going to play. John insisted he was going to play. And after the game, Jordan Mason let out of the bag that they decided that Christian was going to be out on Friday. So, so they knew 3 days in advance. None of us did. And fortunately, Eric got his bet involving Christian voided because even DraftKings was like, yeah, this isn't fair.
Well, and so I was reading more about this too, how
the league is not going to investigate this. By the way, I saw that just before we got on. They're not going to investigate if anything shady went on with the injury designation.
But the thing about it is, we're garnering in very dangerous territory because I don't know if you know this, but owners are allowed to have a 5% interest in the sports book. Like, I was reading up on this, so like, I don't know, man. This is starting to get dangerous with this gambling thing. Like, just, but we can talk about that at another time because we should talk about the game. But like,
that's why we only put $5 each in our parlays.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, like, it's, this kind of stuff is, they're gonna have to crack down on this. Like being able to do this kind of stuff because they're in bed with sports books. They're in bed with sports books. They, and sports books, if this keeps happening and this becomes like a regular trend, they're going to start, pushing buttons. And, if the owners or the league pushes back, well, I'm sure Dan Snyder will come sneaky in with his little PowerPoint and, like I could just see him doing that. Like just, some owners not cooperating with something in the sports book and basically they say, well, we have this piece of information, so you better cooperate. I could just see that happening. But anyway, it's neither here nor there.
It very much could. But that aside, definitely we should bring in Eric for a deeper talk on that. But for now, we need to celebrate what the hell that we accomplished. We were terrified facing a healthy Aaron Rodgers, and we crashed that jet. On our defensive front, we held him to 167 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. We only sacked him once, but we were in his face for most of the game, except one drive where he looked like an MVP. And then I had to explain to my wife that Aaron Rodgers' favorite throw of all time is an offsides Hail Mary, which is the only reason he got his 1 touchdown. We held Breece Hall to 54 rushing yards, even though some of that came with Tyrod Taylor. Garrett Wilson, we held him in check. He was under 60 yards when Aaron Rodgers got pulled, but he got up to 60 with Tyrod Taylor. Allen Lazard, very fluky game. I wouldn't advise picking him up in fantasy necessarily, but he had 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then, Breece Hall fumbled as well. Can't forget to mention that. But then on our side of the ball, Brock Purdy, he didn't put up superhuman numbers, but he really didn't have to be a superhuman with our real hero of the game. Purdy still had an basically 84 quarterback rating with 231 passing yards, no touchdowns or picks or fumbles. But like I was saying, the hero of our game, Jordan J.P. Mason. Holy crap. 28 carries for 147 yards, a 5.3 carry average, and a tutty. And he caught 1 pass for 5 yards. Okay. But, bro, carried it more than Christian McCaffrey's carried in a single game, more than Mostert's carried in a single game. That is the most that one running back has carried under Kyle Shanahan in a single game. And we still got Debo in the mix for his own touchdown and 23 yards, along with his 54 receiving yards. Juwan Jennings tied with him with 5 catches for 64 yards. So he was actually our leading receiver. Shout out to George and Kyle too, having 40 yards, making the most of their catches. Brandon, man, that should be 3 catches for 30 some yards and a touchdown. With that 1 pass in the back of the end zone, hitting him right in the breadbasket, and he dropped it. But I mean, it's week 1. I'm not going to rag him too hard for that, but that better not happen again.
Maybe if John had signed him earlier, and then he could have, been in camp. And
Brandon admitted he made negotiations harder than they needed to be. But that's But anyway, on defense, we did fantastic. Fred Warner looked great. Campbell looked great. Isaac Yodom, Demo, and Charvarius Ward all made amazing pass breakups. And then big shout out to there he is, our kicker. We have to shout Jake Moody out. We were ragging on him a lot last year, being a little hard on him, a rookie kicker. He has big shoes to fill coming in, replacing Robbie Gould. He hits 6 field goals. 2 of them were over 50 yards. It was 51 and 53, I believe. And I'll pretend the 53-yarder didn't need a doink to get in. And then he kicked 2 extra points. Dude has a case for special teamer of the week, I think. I sure tell me I'm overreacting to that if you want, listeners. But no. Overall, now that I've gotten through the nerdy number stuff, we look damn fine on offense. Kyle loves to run the ball, and we ran it very, very well. He devised a great plan for Jordan Mason. Like I said, Brock Purdy, he threw a couple ducks that definitely should have been picks, that he got very lucky. But rust aside, Purdy still looked like Purdy. The handful of throws he did make that were big completions still looked like his old self. But it could have been better, but it could have been worse. It's easy to overlook that, though, with how good Jordan Mason was. And as a team as a whole on the defense, we held the Jets to 19 points, and we held Aaron Rodgers to 13 points. We held Breece Hall under 100 total yards. We held Garrett Wilson to 60 yards, the average. And again, he only got there with Tyrod Taylor's help in garbage time. Like, yeah, take week 1 with a little bit of a grain of salt because it's week 1. But I thought we left that game with a really, really strong impression overall. A little bit of rust that we got a knock off of Brock Purdy in the passing game and in the red zone, but otherwise we look like we're starting right where we left off, angry and hungry for losing that Super Bowl and trying to get another one. I thought this was a great way to set the tone for the season. What did you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys came out, from basically the start of the game and just looked incredible. I think one thing, though, Eric said it, the game should have really been like 50-13 with how often you got stopped. I mean, there were three 50-yard field goals, or two of them at least, and
There's
how many?
two of them.
Yeah, I mean, how many field goals Jake Moody had? Like, just if you
Six.
take,
6
yeah,
field goals.
so like if you take half of those and turn them into touchdowns, I mean, that was the only thing. Like, there was those 6 drives that got stopped and where he had to make a field goal, but it's week 1. You don't really care about that as much, but I mean, the offense on the whole looked pretty good. Um, that I like the catch by Kyle Juszczyk. Um, so it was pretty decent. You guys um, did a pretty good job of tearing down the Jets. And we should give a little round of applause because it's the first time you beat Aaron Rodgers in the regular season.
In a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
It's been quite a while since we beat him in the regular season.
Yeah. So just the pressure that you guys got on him, that um, you know the defensive coordinator. I mean, last year that was one of the problems with the defense, was getting pressure on the quarterback, and so switching defensive coordinators looks like it's helped out.
Oh,
So
dude, not just that, stopping the run. Like low key, yeah, we still had like the second or third overall defense last year, but our run defense, like the not YIC, the yards per play, YP, whatever the right acronym is, we were in the 20s in yards on average, like yards per attempt or yards gained, like the real in the weed stats. We were actually really bad at run defense. And Devondre Campbell and Demo and Fred Warner and our whole defensive line said we're not doing that again, and we stuffed Brees Hall. It was night and day difference in our run defense, and it started at Malik Collins and Hargrave in the middle, and then Nick Bosa and Leonard Floyd on the outside. Our defensive line looked awesome, and then we know how good Fred is. Our secondary looked great. Like, our defense just looked like it had so much more energy than it did even at their best under Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, I mean, it looked a lot better than last year's, and like I said, with Steve Wilkes, you weren't getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. That was completely different now. That's just like, Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, he was under a lot of pressure throughout the whole game. So yeah, the defense looked like the 2022 defense that you all had. So definitely improvements. Can come out better. I mean, you could come out better, like if it was in the middle of the season, but for week 1 to come out and just demolish the Jets, who have have an offensive rookie of the year, they have a defensive rookie of the year, they had a running back who I think had 1,400 combined yards last season.
A
And just
4-time MVP.
4-time MVP. Like, yeah, I mean, for all the weapons that the Jets had to come out there, and for you guys just to demolish them on week 1, it's pretty good. Week 1, you all know week 1 is week 1, and so it's not the rest of the season. So let's just hope the 49ers can continue on the path of this. So
Right. That's why I've been trying to, like, this is why I'm glad we taped this like the day after, because what do you, I guess I'll ask you this, and I'll ask Eric this one sometime between now and next taping, if not in taping. Does this game say more about us, or does this game say more about the Jets? Like, let's Monday morning quarterback this. Let's go ahead and overreact. I think this, honestly, the fact that we look like the shape that we should be in under Kyle Shanahan, I think this says a lot more about the Jets. I think this says a lot more about Robert Saleh. I think this says a lot about keeping Nathaniel Hackett on the staff. And I think it shows that, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is healthy, but you were out for football for a whole year, and it kind of showed. So, like, yeah, we could have made this a 50 burger of a game or even a 60 burger of a game. But I I think Kyle Shanahan just flexed his Kyle Shanahan mind, and that's what I mean. I think this says more about the Jets. Like, I'm not trying to like dogpile on them, but uh, and maybe my expectations are skewed just because of what it's been like for 8 years under Kyle. But I mean, that's just my case for. I think this is a bigger disappointment for the Jets than a rousing victory for us, so to say.
I would agree, because the one thing that you had going for you was the fact that the Jets were not prepared for Mason to see Mason and get 28 for Mason to get 28 touches and rushing. It was obvious that they prepared for Christian McCaffrey the whole week, and with everything the way it was going, and
And it
to
was
sort of,
almost all from the inside too, if you noticed. He was just running between the tackles and the guards. Like almost nothing was from the outside. He was destroying them in the trenches.
yeah, and so I think the Jets just weren't prepared for that, and the true question is, like, if we're looking forward, now that we know CMC is not playing, what are defenses going to do to react to stopping the run game with Mason? Because I think part I think we can agree that part of the reason why you guys were so successful in the run game was because, hey, they were preparing for CMC, and then they got Mason and just were totally caught off guard with what the 49ers were doing.
Right. And Mason is not the same runner as Christian. Christian is shifty. Christian is not more patient than Mason, so to say. But Jordan Mason, his style of running is just straight downhill, that kind of downhill bell cow. They compared him to Marshawn Lynch, and that's not a very inaccurate comparison. Just I'm gonna hit you in the mouth kind of running, and Christian can do that, but Christian is shifty in space. Christian's just shifty all around. Mason was like, "Word, you're in front of me. I'm gonna hit you as hard as I can."
Right, right.
So no, that's definitely going to be an adjustment that when we play the Vikings next week. We'll talk a little bit more in depth about them. This isn't a game preview of that, but the Vikings have got to be cognizant of, okay, how can we clog the middle and try to make Purdy throw? Because Purdy had a lot of good throws, but he also had enough ducks that made me make my comment about like he was a little rusty. And then the chemistry with Brandon clearly is not there. To your point, that's what happens when you hold out the entire summer until the last week of training camp. So that wasn't that surprising. But no, I mean, Kyle got creative. He remembered that Juwan Jennings is still a very capable wide receiver, and he had 5 catches on 5 targets.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel uh got better. He caught 5 of his 9 targets instead of 2, like in the Super Bowl. And then Kyle Juszczyk got used as a tight end a little bit. He had some great catches, and that's just the beauty of our offense, is that we can spread it around. So it wasn't that bad that basically Brandon and Christian were both not involved in the game, because Brandon had like 1 notable catch. His other catch, or did he have 2 catches? I think it was just 2. I'm not on that window to scroll it down, but yeah, he only had 2 catches, and only one of them was really like notable. But so basically, without Brandon and Christian McCaffrey, and we still put a beat down on this. Like, yeah, it's early in the season, but again, like that's just that's the ceiling that we have, and hopefully the floor doesn't go low. Hopefully we don't go down to the floor, but hopefully this raised everything. And yeah, it's just going to be a tall task for the Vikings next week. And this is a lot of soul searching that the Jets are going to have to do now.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I think, too, it's, the Jets were on the road. And just this was like their
In
first
San Francisco on prime time.
on prime time, their first
It was
first
not
real
an easy.
game,
It was not an easy task.
their first real game with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers being comfortable in a live game with his receivers. I still think like the Jets have a good shot at making the playoffs, especially since there's 7 teams, and all of that. So the Jets should be able to bounce back from this. But yeah, it's, pretty good week 1 for the 49ers. overall with, the way they pretty much dominated this game.
Is there anything that you are particularly worried about after this game? Like, we're emphasizing that, like, yeah, it's week one, and I feel like I've stated my concern. The biggest concern that I had out of this game was just how much rust does Brock Purdy have, and then of course, like, yeah, we did fine without Christian, but it's still worth noting, like, his Achilles tendonitis, like, how bad is it? Because, like, we got through this one, but, like, we'd like to have our golden boy back at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah,
But
that would be my biggest concern, is the fact is this sustainable with Mason as the primary back going forward, because we all saw it. The Jets were not prepared for him. They did not game plan for him, and that, getting, 30 minutes before kickoff, you're finding out, hey, Christian McCaffrey's not going to be in there, and you got this whole new, strategy that's coming about with Mason that totally took the Jets by surprise. But hey, we got the news, right before we got on here, that Christian's not going to play again this week, and so that will give the Vikings.
we got the news. The Niners knew, so kudos to them for actually keeping that a secret.
Yeah, I mean, but now we know that he's going to miss another week, according to Adam Schefter, and
Probably, not definitely, but probably.
I know.
Do you want to start somebody with Achilles tendonitis on turf?
No,
like for their first game back?
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, not on AstroTurf. I wouldn't want to do that. And so,
because that's the main that would be the only argument I could think of for benching Christian one more week, because tendonitis can linger like a hamstring. So giving him his first actual in-game action on turf, maybe not a good idea, especially with the Vikings. Like, whoa, you beat down the Giants. Ooh. Like, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah,
I think we can help. I think we can hold out one more week.
I just think the Vikings, if they're a good team, which you can argue whether they're a good team or not, but I think they'll be more prepared, than the Jets were.
They got your boy now. They got Mr. Darnold throwing the ball.
No, they got Sam Darnold.
And he got a touchdown with Justin.
Yeah, he looked like a halfway decent quarterback. Does Sam Darnold have talent? Oh my gosh, yes, he does. Yes, I told, like, he has talent. He has the talent. It's just everything between the years, and now maybe he's coming. He's going to come of age finally, and maybe have a decent season in Minnesota. So hopefully, I'm rooting for him. I hope he doesn't get injured or anything like that. I hope he's able to start all 16 or all 17 games and go out there and, I mean, now with Jordan Love, hurt in the NFC Central, the
North?
Yeah, oh yeah, the NFC North. I'm thinking baseball. So the NFC North, yeah. So yeah, I think, maybe they can compete. We saw what the Bears were like. So, maybe now with Jordan Love out and the Lions being, probably the front runner now with everything that looks, who knows? Maybe the Vikings can make a push.
Well, it won't be next week. Like, it won't be next week. I respect Sam. Sam went through our quarterback university, and I never want a player to have a bad year unless their name is Deshaun Watson. But but no, I guess to really put a pin in on this, we've said it, like, it's week one, so it could be argued that it's just an extension of the preseason. And but no, overall, I'm not really worried too much about long term. Like, depending on what we see during the week about Christian, we'll gauge how worried I get about him. Purdy, I'm not worried about. I think Purdy's just gonna take another week to knock out some of his rust, and he'll be fighting for the most accurate quarterback in the league again. Kyle's not going to deliberately put him in a position where he's going to fail, and Purdy's got it between the ears. So I don't have to worry about him throwing a pick if the ball goes over 10 air yards like this guy. And then the defense just looked night and day different under Nick Sorensen. So massive shout out to him. I wish Nick got the black beads along with Jordan Mason, that little cool tradition that we do for the player of the game, because Nick Sorensen, he held Aaron Rodgers in check. Not an easy task to do, even this post Achilles tear Aaron Rodgers. It's still Aaron Rodgers. We saw glimpses of his MVP form, and he only let it really come out in that one drive. So just across the board, I'm very, very happy with what happened yesterday.
Yeah, I would be too. There's definitely a lot of positives, but there's still some real questions, like how long is CMC going to be out, and how long can they get away with that, and still win games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with that, let's go ahead and give a little shout out to our sponsor, going on year 2 with us, RoyalRetros.com. What is Royal Retros? It is your go-to place to get yourself an authentic throwback jersey, whether it's football, like you're presumably a football fan listening to us, or if it's baseball, basketball, or any of the major sports, they got you covered. Go check out the Candlestick Park collection that's still on there right now, and it's curated with the Bay Area in mind. And when you find something that you like, use the promo code Shady Sports, and that'll get you 10% off of your entire order. Again, it's promo code Shady Sports. That'll get you 10% off of your entire order at RoyalRetros.com. Again, promo code Shady Sports to get 10% off your entire order. Go to RoyalRetros.com and get yourself an authentic throwback jersey today. Real quick, too, about our charity. The help that we've been trying to give to a charity, I should say, I guess. We've been going at this for a little over a year now, maybe almost, or has a year and a half. I don't know. I have to double check that, but we've been inspired since Dan Snyder. That's how far back this goes. At just how wrong it's been that owners have been able to get away with things that players can't. We find out something happens to players the minute it happens, like Tyreek Hill over the weekend, literally like 4 hours before his game kicked off. Not to get too humdrum about that, but that happens. But then we don't find out about owners doing some despicable things until sometimes a week later, sometimes months later, sometimes like a year plus later, and that's just not right. So we started this hashtag owner accountability, owner standards over player standards, because we think that owner standards need to be higher than player standards, and put our money where our mouth.
And that's what the NFL has said. That's just not like our own personal projection. The NFL has said that owner standards are supposed to be higher than player standards. So those are the NFL's own words. That's not our words. That's not our thoughts.
Absolutely. But anyway, to put our money where our mouth is, the money that we're trying to raise is going to be coming through these t-shirts. And these t-shirts here, we got 4 of them. This is our first one. It's our most standard shirt, so to say. It's got owner standards over player standards, hashtag owner accountability. It's got the most colors. It's got the most shirt style variety, crew neck, long sleeve pullover. Pricing starting at $22.99. And again, all the proceeds for this and all the other shirts will be going to Mountain Comprehensive Care Center in Kentucky. The next shirt that we have, if you're listening to us on a wonderful podcast platform, this is our cover art. Again, all the styles, just the one color though. Pricing starting at $22.99. Our alternate cover art is this shirt here. It is a beautiful shirt with the goalpost and the peanuts this time. A couple different color varieties. James has this shirt. He wears it loud and proud under that Eagles sweatshirt. Excuse me. But yeah, this is our third design. And then our fourth one is a peanut eating a bowl of peanuts, wearing 3D glasses and his Niners hat, now patiently waiting for this Sunday when we will go to Minnesota for week 2. He was over the moon yesterday when we kicked the crap out of Aaron Rodgers because of feelings towards Aaron that all of us, Eric included, share. But yeah, a link to Mountain Comprehensive Care Center if you want more information about them is in the show notes, as well as the link to bonfire.com where all these shirts are. Again, the proceeds will be going to Mountain Comprehensive Care Center. So go online, get yourself a nice shirt, and help out a family in need today. Whew, held off that cough as long as I could. I guess to wrap it up, James, I am ad-libbing this a little bit. There's so much we can talk about that would be better suited for our episode on Friday. But yeah, the Tyreek Hill situation, I guess that's the one I want to just address briefly. That was bananas. For anybody that has seen the footage, and not just the press releases. I'm not personally like so vested in this. I'm not trying to speak out of turn, but that just objectively was just wild. That's absolutely wild that it escalated to the point that it got to. And internally, it seems like Miami-Dade PD is investigating it. Drew Rosenhaus is trying to spearhead an investigation. I don't know if that's going to be in conjunction with the league, or if the league is just doing their own, and now 3 entities are trying to look into what happened. But that was wild. I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad Jonnu Smith and Calais Campbell are okay too. I have my own personal thoughts on how that cop handled the situation, but I will control myself and just say that I hope this investigation is very thorough, and I hope an appropriate amount of discipline is given to this officer and the other officers in question, because I found that to be an extreme overreaction to just a traffic violation personally. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I will say this. I think everybody, including Tyreek Hill, could have acted better. However, I'm not surprised this happened in Florida. That's what I'll say. I've had experiences in Florida where the cops are just, I'm not saying cops wherever you live, in your city, in your town, I don't know. But I've lived in Florida, for 17 years, and I've just noticed that there are certain things that's to say I could get away with that my friends couldn't. And there's real legitimacy to that. And so, we always have to be aware of, social consciousness when it comes to these things, that, people will say that, racism is non-existent in America. And I'm here to tell you, if you lived in Florida long enough, you'll know that, there are some things going on there that, especially with the police, that are not right and are not just. And, for people who think white privilege is just something that Black people made up, I'm here to tell you it's not. I can tell you many, many times I have gotten out of speeding tickets and things like that simply because of my last name. My last name is Bray. You fight a ticket, cop looks, oh, James Bray. No, we don't need to go to his court date. He's fine. But a Puerto Rican friend of mine who first time fighting a ticket, cops looked at her last name, showed up to her court date. And if you think somehow cops get paid to go to a traffic court date, they don't, especially not in Orange County, Florida, because like I said, no cop showed up at all to any of my court hearings. But my Puerto Rican friend, first time fighting a ticket, cop took off the day of work. If he wants to get paid, he's got to take PTO, just so that my Puerto Rican friend wouldn't get away with without having to pay at least something for speeding. And she was going like maybe 13 miles an hour over the limit. But for me,
that's just insane.
It is. I mean, literally, I had an at-fault accident, which I fought. No cop showed up. driving with a suspended license, no cop showed up. Driving with bad tags, no cop showed up. Like speeding, anything you can name pretty much as a traffic violation, I pretty much did it and got away with it in Florida because I just fought the ticket and said not guilty. And they just didn't show up, even though they were served and everything. So, yeah, I'm going to let you know that I'm not going to say every single police officer is like that, but there's enough to know that there is some racism going on within the police force of, we'll just say, at least Orange County, Florida.
It's such a diminutive argument to say that, like, statistically, like, oh, well, 90% of cops are okay. That doesn't excuse the 10% that are, though. Like, even if it's like 99-1, that doesn't excuse the one. Like, that's just wild to me. Like, and if if I'm not saying if or not, like, it's should that have played a part in it, this guy definitely needs the book to be thrown at him. Like, you could hear in his voice too that he just didn't know that was Tyreek Hill. And another officer said, "You know who that is, right? That's a star of the Miami Dolphins." And the guy's tone definitely changed a little bit, even though he still went to jail. But dude was on a power trip. He handcuffed Calais Campbell. He threatened to handcuff Jonnu Smith. I'm glad everyone's okay. I'm glad there's plenty of people looking into this, and I wanted to throw my 2 cents into that. That's just maddening that happened. Yeah. And yeah, hopefully it will come to a proper resolution. But anyway, looking forward, this season we are changing a little bit to the format. We are going to be doing just 2 episodes a week going forward. We'll have a game recap, and then we'll have stories, we'll have some bets. I'm not going to guarantee what's going to happen on each one on Friday, but yeah, we're shrinking down to Tuesday, Friday instead of 3 days, just changing it up a little bit, just because James and I were talking about it. But yeah, it should be Tuesday as long as we have no more Monday games, which I think we do only have one. But anyway, but yeah, that's going to be the show going forward. Eric will be back, being flexible with both yours and Eric's schedules. I will be the one constant, though. But yeah, no, we'll be. We're looking forward to next week, as I always tag these recap episodes. We are going to be in Minnesota on CBS at 1:00 Eastern Standard Time next week, facing Sam Darnold and Kevin McConnell and that glorious stadium. I really would love to go to visit that Minnesota stadium at some point in my life. But yeah, that's what the game we got coming next week. Hopefully the 3 of us, if not, somebody will be here on Friday. You got anything else to add, James?
No, that's it for me. So that's all it. That's to say we're all incredibly grateful that your rookie Pearsall, right? That's his name.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall. Yeah,
Ricky Pearsall is doing better. Thank God that nothing happened to him critically to where I'm glad that he's doing okay, and just thank God like nothing drastic happened because of that.
Yeah, I forgot you weren't here with me and Eric when that story broke. Yeah, no, that really was nothing short of a miracle. And the sergeant that was there to help save his life was at the game yesterday, and that was really cool to see.
Yeah. So, but with that being said, outro music, River Road, Justin Muth.
We'll see you guys on Friday. Beat the Vikings.
River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long. River Road, where have all the women gone? Have they kissed her hand and waved you bye-bye? Have they thought about crossing your double yellow lines? River Road,